Welcome to the Everton Army podcast. My name is John. I'm joined by Graham and Andrew. And we just thought we'd do a little Everton chat because we haven't done a pod this week since the derby. And we'll look ahead to the Leeds game as well. So I just want to start with Seamus Coleman. He made his 400th Everton appearance against Liverpool. And that got us asking, what is an Everton legend? Is Seamus Coleman an Everton legend? Andrew, I'll start with you, mate. Is Seamus Coleman an Everton legend?
I tend to think so. I know the discussion generally boils down to what's the difference between a cult hero and a legend? I think his time served is insane. That kind of thing does not happen except if you're Harry Kane, I guess. But I think his price tag has a lot to do with it. Obviously, you've got the song, but that many appearances, that kind of leadership, that kind of devotion, and that kind of loyalty is a rare thing in today's game. So I think on that alone, he is a legend, even without the silverware that generally accompanies that statement.
Yeah.
I mean, for fuck's sake, Klopp called Origi a legend last year. It's like, all right, calm down, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like asking if Big Dunk's a legend.
Mm.
He does have a trophy where,
Yeah, well, this is the thing. This is, and it sparked a really good debate on Twitter, actually. A lot of people are saying, no, he's not a legend because he hasn't won anything. A lot of people are saying he's in that Richarlison category where he's not quite a legend, but he's still a hero. But I don't know, Graham, how do you feel, mate? Is Seamus Coleman an Everton legend, yes or no?
Well, just on that, I would say Richarlison is an Everton hero, which is right there. But for me, yeah, and it's nothing to do with the Irish connection. You look at service for the club, grew to be club captain, held the standards, regardless if anybody thinks they're good enough or if they're too poor, or it's that same battle cry or whatever. The guy bleeds blue. He was a Manchester United fan in his youth and came and got a chance with Everton, instantly fell in love. He's had chances where there's been links. He stayed 400 plus appearances. What else do you want if that doesn't constitute a legend? Now, there's different forms of legend. There's cup winning legends. There's service legends, in my opinion. There are legendary status. Whenever you look at the greats of the game, there's all different tiers. So look, everybody's going to have their own opinion on it, as with everything else, and that's fine. But purely in my opinion, and I believe you guys share it with me, is I would say Seamus Coleman is an Everton legend. If we were to look at players, if you were to pick 5 players of every decade for Everton, 5 going from the beginning the whole way up there. Coleman's going to be in there. His face is going to be in there. So, in my opinion, anyway, my humble opinion. So yeah, I would definitely say he's an Everton legend, because ultimately too, though, people constantly call Tim Cahill a legend.
Yeah.
He had more clubs than Tiger Woods, realistically. So, he's been around, but what he gave, if his is built on passion, then why shouldn't Coleman's? So, but again, we're not happy with things. Yeah. There is so much going on, and you know what? It's like you imagine just a cloud of barbarians floating around, fighting everything, like in one of those animations, and then they just see something else over here, and they're like, "Oh, I get that too," So they're just attacking anything that moves. Realistically, at the minute,
you talking about Burnley?
And well, let the Burnley fans go feel that, but ultimately, you know what I'm saying, And I'm in that, by the way, I'm in that too. I attack things every day. I lose my head over the silliest of things, and it's just passion because we're hurting. But yeah, I think Coleman will never get that recognition until he's gone. Like most people, most things, everybody hates what they have till it's gone, and you find that most of all in football, there's no appreciation until you got it anymore. Like Lukaku, everybody was on Lukaku's back. He's lazy. He's fucking. What would every single person that called Lukaku fat and useless and everything else, what would they do to have him back in that team now? So
yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's another part of it.
Gone.
Yeah, go on, Andrew.
The club's mismanagement of this situation has made that conversation harder, Because if Seamus had been phased out like Baines was, if there was a plan and good windows to get him a proper understudy, I think Coleman could have retired, maybe should have retired. Not that he's completely past it, but he definitely has limitations. If he could have retired last season or before, then I think he definitely would have that status much more in his favor than this.
It's
debate.
like people are gunning for him because of his performance in the derby. You know what? Sometimes some of the best players just don't turn up in the biggest games. It's happened through the decades. And you know what? Seamus Coleman has never ever been really good in the Merseyside derby. You know, in regards to that derby too, I dusted it off. Was a bit emotional. Dusted it off, and just off we go again. I'm refusing to acknowledge it realistically, but you know, again, you say Leighton Baines didn't want anything with us. What a player, everything. But for me, he's an Everton legend. I absolutely love him. And we grew up, like a lot of us guys are the same age as these guys. They were living our dreams in the pitch, especially guys like Baines and like Jack. That's why everyone resonated with Jack Gillick. You know, I can just speak for my age group. You know, I know I look 24, but I'm actually my late 30s. But you know, we could all resonate with these guys. We knew their age and we could talk, and that was the best time that we could maybe speak about Everton. You know, in the last how many years? So no, again, just when he's gone,
we will miss him.
In regards to that derby, he just had a poor game. He shouldn't be in there. Andrew's right. You know, he should have been phased out long ago. He should be third choice, or he should be a makeshift centre half or like third choice right back. Realistically, you know,
we brought Patterson in, and he's having to cover Patterson because of his injuries.
Yeah, well, he's in his third long-term injury since signing a year ago. So we're going to need another right back if he's going to keep breaking down. His ankle seems chopped in knee because I think they're all on the one leg. I could be wrong, but I'm just going to guess it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing as well, as you mentioned before, like, and a lot of people, you know, watch Everton now are the younger generation. So they haven't seen us win things. So to them, a legend is different. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
How many players get to surpass 400 games for Everton? It's not a lot, like, so. For me, he is an Everton legend, but I can understand those old, especially the older ones who think he's not when you compare him to some of the greats in the 80s and what have you. But you know, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. But you know, the same could have been said, as Andrew said, with Lukaku. You know, if we went on and we'd have won that FA Cup, right, with Lukaku when Martinez was here, would then Lukaku be an Everton legend?
Yeah.
He didn't have 400 games, but he would have won something.
One penalty away from potentially all being legends. Then if that's the case, and
that's it.
This means there's fewer legends in the game.
Yeah. But yeah, fantastic achievement, 400 games, and he's still going. It's just incredible. I'll move on to some injury news then. So Sean Dyche confirmed today that Dominic Calvert-Lewin won't play against Leeds. We thought he might play against Liverpool with the mind games, and we thought he might throw him in last minute and stuff, but wasn't the case. We've seen Sims get a start, and for me, he did okay. It's not fair on him. It's completely unfair on him. But looking ahead to Leeds, then a lot of people are saying, well, you'd put Damari Gray up front with maybe Neil Mopai. I personally think you've got to go with Sims again because I think it's damaging for him if you don't throw him straight back in. And I know we talk about managers being tough and making decisions like that, but I think it would be good for the lad. We don't know what he's capable of just yet. So anyway, Gray, I'll start with you on this one, mate. What would you do against Leeds up front?
Well, with all due respect to Ellis Sims, my club's status is bigger than him. No disrespect him, so I wouldn't just put him in for the sake of it. I get what you're saying, John. I'm not coming at you by any means. I just mean, like, it has to be the right team for Leeds. It can't be just, I have to stick with him. I don't want to crumble him. I get that. And I know that's not what you meant, but I thought I'd just throw you under a bus anyway.
Just because everyone was saying he's not ready. He's clearly not up to this level.
Yeah, but what makes him ready for Leeds? You know what I mean? I get that it's a baptism of fire. And you know what? He probably learned a lot more in that 60 minutes the other night than maybe he did in his entire time at Sunderland. So I get that. It's about what he puts in this week and if he can earn it. But for me, I'm not a big fan, although we haven't utilised him well. We've stressed that enough. But even at that, I think I'm just going to have to go for Neil Maupay, purely for the reason that he's a striker. He's a Premier League striker. He's delivered, what was it, last few seasons? He got near 12. So there has to be something in there. Now it's up to Dyche to find a way for that to work. The jury's out on that, and that's a whole other kettle of fish, realistically. But
yeah, bearing in mind we are at home as well, so would you be tempted to go with 2 up top, maybe him and Gray, perhaps?
I have no clue. Look, Andrew ranted it in the last pod. You know what? And it was one I could have been proud of myself. Basically, I even think I mentioned it before. I have no trust in these players. They're so Jekyll and Hyde. You just don't know what you're going to get. They're so fucking inconsistent that I can't do. I physically just feel like I can't do it anymore. I can't just bigging it up. Just bigging it up. Like I was one of the people that was dumb enough to get emotional enough to think, you know what, we might be able to get at these. And then they just turn up and do that. Heads are gone. Again, it comes to the rottenness club. They probably wouldn't capitulate this way at any other fucking club. There's something that the Hajduk split curse is fucking doing us in. So bad. It really is. But I think we'll go with that. I think Iwobi's been stinking the house out. I would probably hook him, I'll probably hook him and put Gray on the right, him and McNeil. I can't believe I'm saying that. They interchange wings. But then in the same breath, I would just go for the same team. I could see why the same team might work with Ellis Sims up front. I don't know if they've been working, because ultimately, as I say, the baptism of fire at Anfield, well, he could be sitting all week with here's what you did wrong on a screen every day, 2 hours. Let's analyse your game. Let's see what you have to do better. Right, go out to training now, and I want you to work on that. You know what? He's been talking a lot about fast tracking. You heard in his press conference today, this can't be fast tracked, that can be fast tracked. You can isolate a competent footballer's game, fast tracking. He did it with most of the team against Arsenal.
Yeah.
So who's to say, instead of just winning a header and just nodding it into anywhere, get that extra step, be more physical, and nod the ball back in front of you, because Onana's going to be pushing up higher on you to collect that ball.
Yeah.
We used to say that. So I just don't know. And I do care, but I just don't trust them. So, yeah.
It's a worry.
Whatever, really.
Andrew, what about you, mate? Dominic Calvert-Lewin. What would you do in this situation?
Sack the board.
Yeah.
Sorry, what are we talking about? Yeah, no, he's hurt because of the board's mismanagement. Like, he's a symptom, not the disease. And the fact that we didn't have cover for him forever after Richie led to this never-ending series of injuries. Yeah. So I feel horrible for him. I don't think he lacks desire. His extracurriculars are their own thing. Yeah. He's always in the gym. He's always working hard. I remember when he got his call up, he won like so many contests at the England squad training games, whatever it was. But I would say use Gray as a super sub in this case. I mean, super sub, like we'll say 73 minutes. Because they only conceded to United late on. That's when they started getting sloppy. And that's something that has been a holdover from Bielsa and Marsh. They were pretty solid, and I'm scared of what they'll do at the start of the second half, because it's just, the 5 minutes on both sides of halftime are our absolute kryptonite. So I would like to see him come on and start to wreak havoc late in the game. And as far as Sims up front versus Maupay, I would say start Sims with Goodison. I think he might get a boost out of that. He might get that lift. And then let Maupay be a complete little shithouse again and maybe distract from what Gray's doing on the break.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because we had a couple of chances against Arsenal 2 weeks back. We put some nice crosses into the box. Sims could have done something with one of those crosses. I'm not saying he's the answer by any means, but
Yeah.
surely he's got to, provide more in that situation than Decore, who's being told to run up there, or Mopai. So I would like to see Sims again. We don't know what he's capable of yet. We just don't know. Damari Gray, I feel like you can only play him on the left. I feel like he doesn't do anything when he's on the right. And then McNeil, I feel like again he's only effective on the left. He doesn't do anything on the right. So you've got a conundrum on the right hand side there. So I don't know. I mean, he's got his work cut out actually.
With the way Leeds play, I feel like Iwobi still needs to be in there for his off the ball work. Like he's been definitely off it on the ball, but his work rate is still very, very high. And I think we'll need that.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yes.
Just to come back on that, that's just frustrations though. I'm just scunnered with him. We are better in my opinion with the Iwobi, but at the same time, some of them guys just need to know that they're not untouchable.
Yeah, no, it's just our squad is shallow as a puddle. So
yeah, and that's
true.
being generous. Yeah, so yeah, but again, just typical bit of board bashing. Now the boards just let the fans down again, let all their managers down. Just shite, just absolutely shite. Realistically, let's face it.
It is.
Again, it just feels like ostrich syndrome. You know what I mean? Just heads are buried in the ground, and just think, oh, it's fine. You know, the audacity as well. They go to away grounds, they watch a game, they are going to Goodison, praying that it actually, like it's as if they're jumping off the roof of a house and expecting that people will start believing that they'll fly the next time, and and just thinking some miracle is going to happen because they're just staying away from Goodison, thinking that it's going to just put a taint on the fans. Honestly, there's no other reason they're doing it. They can't face up, they protest.
Yeah.
And they can't back the club that they're supposed to be running, that they're feeding themselves like in the most gross manner financially just from it because they just want their paydays. That's all they're concerned about.
Yeah,
they're not. I honestly, I'm past the point where I think they're worried about the legacy of this football club. They're basically Tories. They're just getting what they can now before they have to get out. Honestly, that's what it feels like.
Feels like that.
Because Tories, it's like public office. When you take over any sort of board position at a Premier League club or any football club, really in general, outside the US, you are agreeing to take on that feedback, both good and bad. It is just like public office.
Yeah. Like you see it all the time. So we beat Arsenal and then all of a sudden they're wheeling out James Tarkowski and Dwight McNeil in the interviews and all this other shit. And my phone's getting fucking hammered with Everton this, Everton that. Do you forget where we are? Get out of the studio, get into training. Stop trying to milk it and butter us up. Nobody wants a protest before a game. People have families. People don't want to protest after a game. They want to sit with their mates and discuss what they enjoy about football, how that game went and stuff. I'm just fucking sick of it. I really am. And I'm not even overdoing it. We'll be in a few weeks, but I'm not over at the minute doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if I can't enjoy my football, what must that be like for someone who's living at ground zero? I would never forgive, or sorry, forgive, that's the wrong word, forgive me. I would never just accept and think it was acceptable for people chasing cars and this, that, and the other. But they're in the boiling pot. This is where we are coiled like a spring ready to explode. As a fan base, just with frustration, not with anything else, because everything's been peaceful and it'll continue to be so. I believe that. But Jesus Christ. Yeah. So ultimately, that all goes back to the board didn't get a striker, wankers.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Dyfe has actually asked about this in the press conference.
I had an issue with this. But go ahead. I had an issue with this.
Well, this is what he said. He said they're just trying to get across their point. They've been fantastic about the team and me being here. That's all we can ask for. They still have a right to voice. I certainly haven't got a problem with that. I think Ken Wright will want Dyche out after that.
That's not the bit I have a problem with, realistically. I'm just saying the fans do what they want, and please keep on side with us and keep your frustrations elsewhere, because that gives Dyche a game or two more before the pressure comes his way, which probably will be inevitable. But I mean a case of just, he defended the club not having something. He didn't speak up. Now, he's a football man, and he speaks regardless of how he sounds or what you think of him or whatever. You can tell he, eats, sleeps, and shits the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get that they're your employers, but there has to be a tactical way that you can come around and say, yeah, there has been failings in the past. It was brought up then by that reporter saying, in the past and stuff too, with right back and all that there. Why not just say, yeah, there has been, for this, that, and all, but he just defended it. I had issue with that. I was just like, what? Why are you defending that? Regardless in football ethics, because if you were in Talksport with Simon Jordan, unemployed, you'd have absolutely explained what should have happened there in seconds. So for me, I get that you're in a job. I wouldn't even be surprised if he's had to sign something, because in regards to this club's dealings and every other fucking person that's left the club, they've had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So I suppose they just started winning them out at the start. But
I actually said that at the beginning. Sorry, mate. When he first got the job, his first interview was, I feel like we've got a good squad here. That to me was a huge red flag. Yeah. Shocking. Well, we know that the FA have charged us and Liverpool, and we've got more charges than points this season. For all the handbags that were flying around on the touchline in the Merseyside derby, Andrew. What can we say about that, mate? It's getting silly.
Same old. I think.
Where was that fight in the game?
What's that?
Where was that fight in the game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say, Andrew? I cut you off.
Oh no, it was just with the charges. I feel like we're going to see more of these minimal, like they call them misdemeanors here. I'm not sure what they're called in the UK, but I think you're going to see more misdemeanor level charges to make it seem fair, while they've got the felony case with City, if that analogy makes any sense.
Certainly does.
Yeah. Well, the FA are shit.
So won't seem like they're bullying.
Well, that's it, mate. Yeah.
Must get that painted on my living room wall. The FA are shit, John.
2023 dissertations. Just looking ahead to the Leeds game then, and Connor Cody is another one that's been mentioned quite a bit. There's a reason why we haven't bought him, although we don't know what that reason is. Are we skint? Is it because Thelwell might prefer Branthwaite in the future, and Dyche ultimately would prefer Branthwaite? We don't know, but Connor Cody hasn't been bought, and we didn't take that option in January. But he's been under a bit of criticism lately for his performances. Everyone's saying he's been subpar. I personally think we should have played Mina in the derby. I don't think it would have made a huge difference other than just to wind somebody up. Graham, what's your thoughts on Connor Cody? Does he need a rest?
I think the Mina shouts, they're fine in hindsight. I don't think anybody had issue with it going into the derby, realistically. In regards to buying him, I always think that option to buy was at the end of the season. So I suppose we don't even know if we're going to still be in this league. So why would he even sit down with us, regardless of if he can live 5 minutes from the training ground?
Yeah.
The difference is there, and players want to play the highest level. I don't think before the derby I would have hooked him. He sort of went a wee bit backwards, but it's not that long ago he was getting his vital goals and being a vital centre half for us. That's true, but if you're going by merit and by performance, if there's options, which there are quality options, i.e. Yerry Mina being much better, and like it or not, Dyche is a keen man. So you could see this as the opportunity. They changed that team, delivered once and didn't end. Going by Dyche's words, he's basically written off that result because we've got 3 points out of potential 6 that were realistically, if we got 2, was apparently the acceptable number. So I don't know. they have a good chemistry. They have a good balance about them. They extremely lack pace. Connor Cody is not the target, the painful target that I would like to hit in that defense realistically in more than one ways. If I'm being honest, I'm only joking. I'm not that violent. I think Mikolenko needs looking at seriously. Dare I say, put in. There's only one person who can come in and do that job at left back, I think, and really sure us up. Andrew know who that is, and it's Vinagre. Let's face it, because there's no one else.
Oh.
I'm joking. Realistically, if Vinagre can't get in this team, just send him packing. I would stick Ben Godfrey in and just lock it up. Just lock it up, and you're losing that asset. But that asset of a left winger putting a left fullback overlapping, they put across him. But Mikolenko doesn't do that. He's terrified on his left foot. So I just don't see it. I've said it from early on. You know I have. I'm just not a fan. It just keeps getting worse. I'd rather be proved wrong. I'm not saying I'm right or anything, but in my opinion, I am, and I just don't think he's up to the standard. I just think get Godfrey in there. He can play fullback. Tell McNeil you are tracking back, because the realism is Ben Godfrey is going to come across as a sweeper. Would I replace Cody now with Yerry Mina? Yes, I would. He's leaving at the end of the season. Fuck it. Use it. It's broke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put him on. If he breaks down, be like, wow. Yeah. So might as well do that. In regards to Seamus Coleman, Derby was an off day. He was fantastic against Arsenal. We're asking him to do too much. Ask him once more. If he's not able and you want to accommodate it and you want the energy in the team, put Alex Iwobi at right back. Put Damari Gray at right wing. I don't think he likes Holgate. I like Holgate. I think Holgate's a very competent defender in regards of Godfrey, that whole Godfrey Holgate King debate. I think the best all round defender is Holgate, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But he is capable of some crazy moments too. So no, I think he can lock down one side, and not be attacking. I just don't think he could do it and go that Ancelotti for centre back thing at the back. That was a one-off. In my opinion. Ancelotti knew how to get these guys to express themselves, and that was a team as well that included Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, and they were putting
James Rodriguez.
A lot of miles, and James and stuff too. Well, James when he was there, let's face it. More youthful Abdoulaye Doucouré with legs in there. You had Allen, who could work under Ancelotti's weight. I think that would be too much to change up for Sean Dyche. Just my opinion. Don't shoot me down. But I just think, if you were going to do that, because if Iwobi was pushing more, Godfrey could come across, the team could pivot, and then you sort of could break into like a three at the back with that pace in Godfrey. So I think Godfrey's the competent one. Godfrey, now I know I don't give him much, but I'm going to give him some, because he needs to learn to defend. He has every single thing in his locker. It's not that he can't defend, but he's just so... It just needs tuned so much. You know what I mean?
He's got all the physical attributes. He just doesn't have the anticipation.
We can't keep carrying it, so he needs to deliver. So pull your socks up and get out there and do it. But again, it's Will or Dyche wants that. Ben Godfrey playing left back is Ancelotti. We've had a couple of managers since then who haven't put him in there. I think once he went in under Benitez at Arsenal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nearly broke about 4 legs. So get that boy back in. I'll have that all day. So until he broke his own leg, it's right. Because of his own mistake against Chelsea. Sorry, Andrew, just saying.
Yeah. That's him all
But
over.
He's a man mountain, and he's extremely handsome, so I get him in.
The only thing that can hurt Ben Godfrey is Ben Godfrey.
Exactly. That's it. But yeah, Andrew, just with the Connor Cody thing, do you think he's being found out in a 4 at the back, or do you think it's just a bit of a slump in form?
I think it's a slump in form, because we saw him in a 4 at the back and in a 3, like when Lampard decided to go defensive. He did well many times in a couple of different setups.
Yeah.
And did poorly, just like all of our other players do, over 50% of the time. He's not as good as I thought he was.
Yeah.
But he's still good enough to be a regular starter. I also kind of think, and this is me being very assumptive here, that since we got the 3 points at Arsenal,
Mm-hmm.
Mina was a sitter for Liverpool because it was basically a free hit at that point.
Yeah.
Like we said on the last show, anybody offers you 2 points from those last two fixtures, you
Mm.
take it all day. It just hurt at the time because of how bad we looked at Liverpool. But the end result is we got 3 points from those two fixtures. So yeah, sit Mina because we're probably not going to win at Anfield.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be useful at Leeds, if, against Leeds if we decide to.
Yeah. Well, they are a team that loves, shithousery, to put it lightly. And they will do it. They will give it back. So you need someone who's able to deal with that.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. If Tyler Adams goes into Yerry Mina's legs, that's it. That's just two socks full of gravel.
Yeah.
Instead of shins.
I think too, though,
at that point, it's still 0-0.
Bamford sort of has had nearly the same trajectory and downfall as Calvert-Lewin. And Bamford's back in now for Leeds, and he's not scoring. I think he's won all season, or one. I think it is one. I think that's what I seen. And Bamford's busy. He's up for a fight, like.
Oh yeah.
No, and then you've got Harrison buzzing around him and stuff. So I really do.
Sorry, mate. Well, they're just gonna say the young lad. They've got Wilfred Nonto on the wing. He's the Italian lad. He's very exciting. He'll give Seamus Coleman a handful.
But then Coleman his experience should put him in the right position, that extra yard or two. So not going to worry about that. Again, Patterson's coming back. Dyches, they play an under-21s game this week, him and Garner. So, they're almost there. But again, does he just come straight back in for the cold? And then he comes in flat-footed because he's very suspect with the ball in behind. Yeah. So it's weird. But in regards to those sort of attacking too, Harrison and Bamford, I would maybe want Yerry Mina in just for that battle. Remember, Bamford absolutely wound up as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I would have Mina in for that. Just time to shake it up. Use your squad. If you had everybody in who wasn't playing, and you're saying in the press conference that you're the heartbeat, you are the difference. Be ready. I think that says there's changes coming. Personally,
yeah.
So I hope he is in, because he's fucking brilliant wind-up merchant. He'll get Goodison rocking, especially if he gets Bamford biting at him again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have that all day.
Yeah, and just before we go, I just want to touch on something that Andrew mentioned earlier. It's obviously the point that we'd have taken 3 points before those two games, and a lot of people on Twitter and other fans and friends as well are saying to me, well, hang on a minute, we shouldn't be settling for that even at this point. But it just shows you where we are at this point. We think that's a good return, and it is based on where we are, but that just shows you how low that we've fallen, and how far we've fallen, that we're willing to accept that. When you're saying a free hit, a lot of people were getting mad on Twitter saying a free hit, we should be trying to win that one as well, but that's not the case, is it?
No, it's the context. You got league leaders at home, but still a very, very fucking good Arsenal. And then away at Anfield, where we are statistically hilarious. So yeah, I'll take 3 from that. It's just, I was very miserable with the way that it happened at Anfield.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, so on that note, we'll leave that one there, and hopefully we can get a decent result against Leeds and kickstart the second half of our season after the Arsenal game, because the derby doesn't count. So yeah, Andrew, Graham, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one.